Welcome back to the deep dive. So today, we are tackling something very, very real that I think every parent is feeling right about now.
Mm.
It's the heat. If you are homeschooling or, even just parenting through late summer, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It's those days where the pavement is just radiating, everyone's a bit lethargic, the kids are draped over the furniture like Salvador Dali clocks.
Yes. The guilt of the hot afternoon. It's a real thing. You feel like you're losing time just because the weather has ground everything to a halt.
Exactly. And you have this nagging voice in your head saying, I should be doing something productive right now.
Right.
But today, we're going to completely flip the script on that. We've been looking into the Noongar season of Bunuru, and there's a core idea here that is, it's just so liberating. The whole point is that the heat isn't an obstacle to learning.
No.
The heat is the learning.
That's the key shift. We're moving away from this idea that we need to, fight the weather to get school done. We're looking at how to use the season itself, specifically Bunuru, as a warm, practical guide for how to live and learn with little ones.
And we are keeping this really practical today. No textbooks, no complicated lesson plans. We're focusing on a framework that works for foundation-age kids. So what, those 4 to 6-year-olds?
Exactly. And the toddlers who are always running around underneath them.
Which is the reality for so many families, isn't it? You're trying to do something meaningful with the older one while the 2-year-old is, trying to eat the crayons.
Every single time.
So our mission today is to break down this season of Bunuru and give you a really simple routine. We're calling it prime, play, pause, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
But first, let's ground ourselves. For anyone who isn't familiar with the Noongar calendar, what are we actually dealing with when we say Bunuru?
Okay, so Bunuru is often called the second summer. In the Noongar calendar, which is for the southwest of Western Australia, seasons aren't defined by dates. They're defined by what's actually happening in the environment.
Right.
And Bunuru, which is usually around February and March, is the hottest, driest time of the year.
We're talking about that intense white heat.
Oh, yeah. Hot easterly winds in the morning, and you're just praying for that cooling sea breeze in the afternoon. Traditionally, for Noongar people, this was the time to move to the coast, to the estuaries. You go where the water is. It's a season that it demands you slow down.
Which is such a huge contrast to how we normally operate. We just blast the air conditioning and try to carry on as usual.
We do. But this is about listening to country. And for a child, that's a huge concept. But we have to be careful here because what a toddler understands about the heat is really different from what a 5-year-old can grasp.
Yeah, I found this part of the research so helpful, especially for parents juggling that age gap. Let's break that down. What's the developmental reality of Bunuru for a toddler?
For the really little ones, say 2 to 3.5, it is completely sensory. They don't have a mental calendar. They don't know it's February. Their reality is just immediate. It's, I am hot. The ground is prickly. The water is wet.
Exactly. So you shouldn't be trying to explain the whole cycle of the seasons to a 2-year-old.
It would just go right over their head.
Totally. They learn by copying. If you move slowly because it's hot, they move slowly. If you drink water, they want to drink water. That is the lesson. It's somatic. It's in the body.
But the foundation kids, the 4, 5, 6-year-olds, they're ready for a little bit more.
They're ready for patterns. Yeah, they can understand that this happens every year. They can start to grasp cause and effect, like when the sun is this high, the ants disappear.
Oh, I like that.
Or when the wind comes from that direction, my skin feels dry. They're moving from just feeling it to actually observing it.
So the goal isn't memorize the name of the season. The goal is notice how the world is changing.
Precisely. You're not looking at a calendar. You're looking at nature to tell you what to do. Before we get into the how-tos, I want to mention something that I think will be a massive relief for parents. There's a list of things you do not need to teach.
The permission to chill list.
Yeah.
Yes. This is so important.
It really is. The guidance is pretty firm on this. Do not try to teach climate change.
No.
Do not get into the complex history of colonization yet. And this one really surprised me. Don't even try to explain the science of UV radiation.
It feels counterintuitive, doesn't it? Because we're so drilled on sun safety. But think about a 5-year-old's brain. UV radiation is an invisible ray from space that causes cellular damage you won't see for 20 years.
That's incredibly abstract.
Yeah.
And kind of scary.
It's very fear-based. And at this age, you want to build a connection to the environment, not anxiety about it.
So what's the alternative?
You teach the concrete reality. The sun feels strong, it burns my skin, I need a hat to feel comfortable. It's about bodily autonomy and sensation, not abstract science.
Okay, so we're stripping back the lectures and leaning into the experience, which brings us to this framework: prime, play, pause, repeat.
The loop. It's brilliant because it takes the pressure off the parent to be the teacher standing at the whiteboard. You're not delivering content. You're just facilitating an experience.
Okay, walk us through it. Let's imagine it's Tuesday, it's 35 degrees, everyone's sweaty. Step one is prime. What does that look like?
Prime is a 30 to 60-second setup. That's it. You're not giving a speech. You're just setting an intention. You might say, it is Bunuru. The sun is very hot today. We're going to find the coolest places in the garden.
And that's it.
That's it. You've named the season, you've identified the condition, the heat, and you've set the action. You've just primed their brain to look for cool places.
Simple enough. Okay, step two is play. And I'm guessing this isn't us hovering over them.
No, and this is crucial. This is child-led time. It could be 20 minutes, it could be 40. Your only job here is to be the narrator.
The sportscaster, not the coach.
Perfect analogy.
So what does that narration sound like?
Let's say they take their toys and they sit under the big gum tree. You don't say, good job finding shade. You just narrate. You say, oh, you moved to the shade. It looks cooler there.
You're just giving language to what they're already doing instinctively.
Exactly. You're validating their decision. They felt hot. They moved. You named it. That connects the feeling to the word.
Then comes step three. Pause.
This is a brief reflection. Maybe you're coming inside for a drink. You ask one single question.
Just one.
Just one. Any more, and it feels like a test. You ask something like, what helped your body feel better outside?
And you're hoping they make the connection.
Right. You want them to say the tree or the water. You're helping them connect the action they took, moving to the shade, with the result, feeling better.
And step four is repeat.
Do it again tomorrow and the next day. Because for a 5-year-old, repetition is the learning. They don't need a new theme every day. In Bunuru, the heat is consistent, so the response should be consistent. That builds a deep understanding of the pattern.
I think that's where so many of us get burnt out. We feel like we have to be entertainers, creating these magical new scenarios every single morning.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And in the heat, it's just not sustainable. The season Bunuru is repetitive, it's hot and dry and bright. The routine should mirror that.
This leads perfectly into the idea of daily rhythms. The research suggests that simply changing when you do things is a huge lesson in itself.
This is a big aha moment for so many parents. In our modern world, we tend to force our schedule onto the day. Lunch is at noon, park is at 2, no matter what.
Yeah, we try to just brute force our way through the environment.
Exactly. But indigenous knowledge is all about adapting to the land. If it's Bunuru, you just don't run around at midday. So shifting your routine, playing outside early, having a long, quiet siesta time in the heat of the day, that's not being lazy.
That is the lesson.
That is the lesson. You just say it out loud. We are resting because the sun is high. We are changing our day because it is Bunuru. You are modeling adaptation.
Let's get into some specific play ideas, because parents need tools. There's this one, get ready for the sun, that seems perfect for mixed ages.
Right. So this is a transition ritual. Every time you go outside, you make a little moment of it. For the toddler, it's just simple cause and effect. Sun is strong, hat on. You're just narrating the physical care.
But for the foundation kid, we can extend it a bit.
Yeah, this is where you bring in the toys, the dolls, the dinosaurs. You ask the child, we're going outside. Which doll needs a hat? Or, is your dinosaur thirsty?
Why bring the toys into it? Why not just ask if they are thirsty?
Because caring for something else builds empathy. It moves the concept from, I want water, to living things need water. The child has to make a decision to protect the toy from the Bunuru heat.
That's a really small shift, but it's actually teaching them about caring for country and caring for others.
And it just feels like a game to them. They're not learning sun safety. They're saving their dinosaur from the hot lava pavement.
Speaking of hot pavement, let's talk water. You can't get through February without water play. How do we make it more than just splashing?
Water is the survival theme of Bunuru.
Ugh.
And you can turn water play into what I call science without lab coats. My absolute favorite is the ice melt challenge. It costs nothing.
Oh, I love this one. Walk us through it.
Okay. You take 2 ice cubes, put one on the pavement in the direct sun, put the other one in the shade, maybe under a bush. Then you just ask the child, which one do you think will melt first?
Okay, now this is the hard part for parents. What if the child guesses wrong? What if they say, the shade one?
And everything in you wants to say, no, actually, solar energy works like this. But you have to stop yourself.
So hard.
It is, but you have to bite your tongue. Do not correct them. If you tell them the answer, they're just memorizing a fact you gave them. If you say, okay, let's watch, you are teaching them the scientific method, observation.
So you just watch.
You watch the sun cube turn into a puddle in 2 minutes, while the shade cube is still solid. They see the evidence with their own eyes. And if their prediction was wrong, that's actually even better.
Because the surprise makes it stick in their brain.
Exactly. Whoa, the sun ate that ice cube. Then you connect it back to them. That is why we sit in the shade. We don't want to melt like the ice.
It makes the abstract concept of heat totally visible.
It does. And another great one for the sensory learning is just comparing dry and wet ground.
This feels so obvious to us that we forget it's a discovery for kids.
We take it for granted. But for a child, Bunuru is textural. The leaves are crunchy, the grass is scratchy. Go outside and really touch the dry earth. Talk about how it feels. Is it dusty?
And then just add water.
Yep. Pour a bucket of water on it. Watch how thirsty the ground is, how quickly it soaks it up. And smell that smell. You know that smell of water on hot dust?
Oh, it's the best.
That is the scent of the season. And you can give them words for it. Country is thirsty. The plants are drinking.
And again, no worksheet required.
No. Just a bucket and some dirt.
Okay, I want to pause here and address the anxiety that I know some homeschooling parents feel. We're talking about playing with ice and mud, and there's a voice in their head asking, but are they learning anything academic? What about maths? What about literacy?
I hear that. We've been conditioned to think that if it isn't written down, it doesn't count. But let's look at what's actually happening in these games.
Where's the maths in a bucket of water?
It's everywhere. First, measurement. When you're comparing the ice cubes, this one is small, this one is big, or this melted fast, this one is slow. That is comparative measurement. A foundational math concept.
So it doesn't have to be numbers to be maths.
No. And then you have spatial awareness. Put the doll in the shade. Stand at a tree. Those prepositions in, under, next to those are spatial concepts. You're living the geometry of the garden.
And I guess counting is an easy add-on.
Totally. Count the scoops of water, but, and this is important, don't turn it into a quiz. Don't say, what's 2 plus 2 scoops? Just narrate, oh, look, you filled 3 cups. Keep it natural.
Okay, what about literacy? How do we support reading and writing without dragging out flashcards?
Vocabulary is the powerhouse here. If you're using words like hot, dry, shade, Bunuru, protect, thirsty all week long, that is deep vocabulary acquisition. They're learning the words by living them.
There was a specific activity for mark making, which is the precursor to writing, that I thought was just genius for hot days.
The water painting. This is magic. Give them a paintbrush. A big house painting brush is great, and a pot of water. Let them paint on the hot concrete or the fence.
It makes a nice dark mark.
It does. They can draw shapes, lines, maybe their name. But because it's Bunuru, what happens almost immediately?
It vanishes.
It evaporates right before their eyes. So you have handwriting practice happening, but also a science lesson on evaporation. And the best part for the parent,
No mess.
zero cleanup. The sun does it for you.
That is the dream. I also thought the advice on books was interesting. It suggested reading stories about the season after the play, not before. Why flip that order?
It's all about connection. If you read a book about a hot day before they've experienced it, it's just a story. It's abstract. But if you read it after they've spent the morning melting ice and hiding in the shade, suddenly the book reflects their own reality.
They can see themselves in it. Hey, that bear is hiding from the sun, just like I did.
Exactly. It deepens the comprehension because they have a physical memory to hook the story onto.
So we've got the framework. Prime, play, pause, repeat. We've got activities. But I want to come back to that parent anxiety one last time. How do we know it's working? If we aren't ticking off a checklist, what are the signs of learning?
You have to shift your focus from output, like a worksheet, to behavior. Behavior change is the ultimate proof of learning.
Give me some examples.
If your child goes outside and automatically puts their hat on without you yelling, they have learned the concept.
That is a win.
A huge win. If they seek shade when they feel tired, they have learned the concept. If they pour water into the dog's bowl because the dog looks hot, they have learned biology and empathy.
So if they are adapting their behavior to the heat, they are basically passing the test.
They're living the test.
Yes.
And that's so much deeper than just knowing the word for summer.
And there was one final don't in the notes that I think is really important for us to hear. Avoid over-questioning.
Oh, we are all so guilty of this. We see them playing and we swoop in. What are you doing? Why is that wet? What color is the sun? We think we're being helpful.
But we're just interrupting.
We're breaking their flow. If they are deep in play, They are in a state of learning. If you interrupt to ask a teaching question, you've stopped the learning. Just step back, narrate if you need to, but mostly just watch. Trust that the play is doing the work.
That requires a lot of trust. But I guess that's the whole point of this approach, trusting the child and trusting the season.
And trusting yourself. You are doing enough. By modeling how to slow down, how to seek shade, how to care for yourself in the heat, you are teaching the most important lesson of Bunuru. You are teaching them how to live on country.
It's really about respect, isn't it? Respect for the environment and for our own limits.
Absolutely. And honestly, it's a lesson we adults probably need just as much as the kids do.
That is so true. It brings up a bit of a provocative thought for us. We spend so much time trying to power through the heat, with coffee, aircon, deadlines. But if we truly listen to the season the way we are teaching our kids to,
How would our days look different? Imagine if we actually paused when the heat was highest. Imagine if we accepted that February is a time to slow down.
maybe the kids are onto something. Maybe productivity in Bunuru actually looks like resting.
I think they might be right.
So this week, maybe try it out. Prime, play, pause, repeat. Grab a bucket of water, find some shade, and let the season be the teacher. Thank you so much for walking us through all this.
My pleasure. Stay cool out there.
And to all the parents listening, you're doing a great job, even if today's lesson was just lying on the floor. We'll see you in the next step dive.